Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to say thank you for adding me to your group. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about myself. I do have it in the description below, but I have been an educator for over the past, I want to say over 15 years. And and I have uh, also served as a social worker for um, for almost 3 years. So I have a background in social services as well as education, but I left social work and became a teacher for the most part. And so um, I have been fortunate to have had experience in a variety of different settings, learning environments, private school, charter school, public school, training centers. And so, that being said, I have been able to maximize on my exposure, um, the participants and students that I'm serving. And so I wanted to come on today and just kind of want to encourage all of the new teachers that are just starting out. I remember my first year, and it was my first year in a full time classroom was very challenging. South Central LA, I had almost 30 fifth graders, and it was my first year, so I was still in school. I was still earning my credential and taking classes. I also was a new mom and a wife at the time, and so it was challenging. Students were challenging. It's just a lot. It was a lot going on, but I still believe that I was in the right place and I was doing what I was essentially called to do. And so I've also ventured out a little bit. And have done some um, more like contract assignments. I've worked as an educational specialist with a video game company. I have worked as an educational specialist with the County of LA for some of our probation and students and some of our um, students that are under children's services jurisdiction. And I did that for 2 years. I have also worked as a California teacher preparation assessor, where I have assessed and scored the submissions for new teachers that are participating in the credentialing process and working to earn their state licensing. And so, that being said, I could probably give stories for days in my days in the classroom, but I really wanted to, we're living in we're really in a really, I want to say an emerging time, a transitional time, maybe is a better word, as far as the direction in education, especially with the pandemic. So we are seeing a lot of, everybody was mostly all the schools across the nation, maybe even the world, students were doing school from home, and parents suddenly became teachers, their child's primary teacher, which is interesting because that was always my philosophy anyway. And one of the things I would share with back to school night was parents are the child's first educators. And so, but I know that's a little different when you're actually having to teach content or monitor the content that is being delivered, even if it's via digital or virtual classes. Parents were with their children almost like 24 hours in the day, 24/7, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. What I'm noticing now is more of a hybrid model, maybe emerging. I believe that there will be more options for parents out there if they want to continue to work with their child from home or have their child in person school or have a combination of both. Believe it or not, many of these models were being students are participating in these models prior to the pandemic. And there's also been a huge umbrella um, push for remodeling how we do education. even outside of the typical building per se. And so I believe we're living in some very transitional times, exciting times. I think it could be for education, because there always should be there's no one size fits all. And I believe, in our goal as educators is to meet the needs of every student. That also should include the way that students learn, where students learn, and how they learn. And so I want to go ahead and share with you a hero story of mine, as I am working on a couple different assignments and tasks and expanding myself. And so I just wanted to have a way of engaging with other educators, instructors of any background. And so my motto is, we're all teachers in some way. And so I would like to share with you my hero story. And it became one of a recent one, I will say. And I partnered with a organization, which I've known the lady who runs the organization for several years now, and she was looking for she needed another tutor and a virtual tutor. And so I took on the task and became one of their tutors and tutoring students a few times a week. And so one of the students I was tutoring in the evenings, she was a seventh grade student, and she was struggling with her math class. She was just frustrated. She had shared with me that she had been having several substitutes throughout the year. So I think by the time I met her, it was January, February, and she says they just had a rotation. The first teacher had quit, and they just had a rotation of teachers. And she felt like her math class especially just seemed so stagnant, like the subs were coming in, but they were like doing the same thing over and over. And so she felt like she wasn't progressing, but then she also was like, well, I just feel like I can't do math anyway, and I think that I'm behind because we just keep going over the same things, and I just really need a lot of help. So she's in the seventh grade, and I started her off with a fifth grade standard. Now, I taught fifth grade for probably 10 years, so that's kind of like my jush. That's kind of, my little soft spot. That's my sweet spot. I kind of know the standards really well. And so I said, okay, let's do our fractions. Let me have you add, subtract a fraction with unlike denominators. Basically, a lot of students get hung up on that because it does require multiple tasks that you're doing. And so we did that. She was struggling at first. She finally caught on. Then I just started to exposing her to seventh grade level standards, seventh grade level math standards. And so that she wasn't exposed to and hadn't been being exposed to in the classroom. She had got the fractions down because that's pretty much what she was doing in the classroom. She finally mastered that. And then, so I just started giving her seventh grade math standards. Positive and negative integers, solving for the unknown, inequalities and things like that. And so I began to work with her regularly and consistently. And so I exposed her to the content that she had not been covering in class. And one day she came to the session and she was so excited to share with me. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? She goes, oh my goodness. Today I was ahead of the other students because the teacher that came to the class today gave us integers, the positive and negative numbers. And she said because I had already exposed her to that, she was ahead of the class. And I believe they finally got a full-time teacher in the classroom that can help to kind of progress them along. But she was so excited that she had already been exposed to those integers. Okay, and so that for me as a teacher, oh my gosh, that was everything. It was amazing to hear that, because a lot of times we don't even know if what we're doing is making a difference, or if the kid is really learning, or if it's, so for me, that was just everything for myself. And so I was so excited for her. And so I just continued to work with her, and again, exposing her. And then she just started bringing me some of the tasks they were doing in class so that we could go over it together. And so I continued to work with her again, like I said, every week, twice a week actually, and we would engage her with various methods to learn and understand the concepts. And by the end of our sessions together, she had informed me that she was no longer afraid of math. She was solving the equations like on her own. She was, oh my God, I'm solving these equations on my own. And she was just happy that she had felt more confident about her math class and felt that she was at a seventh grade level ready to transition into the eighth grade. And so I was just excited to hear from her, and she just basically saying, I can solve these equations on my own. And so that is my hero story. That's one of, I know I have several I could probably pull out of a hat, but I just wanted to give one as a way of encouraging all of the new teachers out there, not only just new teachers, but if you are a homeschool parent, teacher, if you are a new teacher to the classroom, or if you have been a regular instructor in a classroom for quite some time now and you just need an extra motivation. If you are a teacher in training and you're still in your courses and waiting to pass your exams and take your exams, I just wanted to motivate you. If you are a corporate trainer or workshop instructor, can stay in the race. And it's always a great feeling to know that what you're doing is making a difference. And even if it's just one student, you know what I mean? Especially when you've been in it for so many years, you've taught hundreds of students. And so you don't always know what your impact was. But I'll tell you one thing, I've run into students in the grocery store, McDonald's, movie theaters. I mean, so many places, like randomly walking down the street. I've run into some even at my own children's schools, believe it or not. And so they'll remember me. I sometimes have to take a moment to recognize them because they're gotten older, especially the boys. Oh my goodness. With the beard and the mustache and the voice changing, and they're so much taller and they're muscular and all that. It takes me a minute to realize who they were. But, and they often will tell me, oh my gosh, we missed your class. And I was actually at a Starbucks about a month or so ago, and a student walked up to me. She had to be 21, or something like that. And she just remembered me. And she said I taught her and her cousin or something like that. So those are just the moments that we always hear educators talk about. But when you're new to teaching, those kind of experiences give you that awe feeling, and it gives you that's the reason why I got into teaching and got into education. And it's so fulfilling, I will say, to really actually begin to experience that side of things, of what you hear a lot of the veteran teachers talk about. And you say, and that is why we became teachers, right? Despite of all the politics, the pay, the issues and whatnot, when we see those outcomes, when we run into those students and we have those hero stories, that's the greatest feeling in the world. And I believe that's one of the reasons why they say teaching is one of the best professions in the world. Not one of, but they say it is the best profession in the world. So I'm still testing that, but when I see those students, it really is a great feeling. And I hope you guys all enjoyed that. If you have any other interests or questions for me, please feel free to message me or put a comment, something in the comment sections, and I'll be more than glad to reach out to you as well. Please take care and have a good night. Bye-bye.